let's get into talking about Olympic redshirts. And this term is thrown around so often, Olympic redshirt, especially Olympic redshirt, Dayton Fix, going to take Olympic redshirt, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't think a lot of people know what an Olympic redshirt is and what it actually does, as far as wrestling, as far as, okay, does this lose a guy a year of eligibility? What if he already took a redshirt year? What's going to happen to him? What about medical redshirts? How does this all fit in? Okay, so redshirts, just in a general sense, you're basically able to take a year off from wrestling and, still compete in open tournaments, just not attached with your school. That's a general redshirt if you have no idea what redshirts are, okay? Now, a medical redshirt is if you're injured, you're wrestling during the season, maybe you get injured halfway through, or maybe you don't even have any matches and you're injured, well, you can apply to and the NCAA can grant you another year of eligibility. An Olympic redshirt, I'm going to get into how to qualify for it, what it is, and is it any different from those. So, first of all, the 2020 Olympics are happening next year, of course, 2020, in Tokyo. And wrestling fans cannot be more excited to see what happens. So, the Olympic trials will actually be happening April 4th and 5th next year, which is just a couple weeks after the national tournament, and they'll be happening in State College. And, I'm planning on going there. I really want to go there because I think it'll be fun. So, an Olympic red shirt is a special red shirt in addition to a regular red shirt year. It's actually more similar to a medical red shirt where you have to kind of apply for it, and then you're granted that year. And we'll get into some guys who may be eligible to be granted for it, and one guy who actually is already said, I'm taking this Olympic redshirt year. He's already been granted it. It's already going to happen. So, first of all, how do you qualify for this Olympic redshirt? Well, there are 4 different ways to qualify. 4 different ways to qualify for this Olympic redshirt. The first way to qualify is if you're a past national team member, you placed top 3 at the Worlds or Olympics, you were on Team USA before, you're eligible to get that Olympic redshirt year. Now, that's a little bit tougher because, making a senior world team while you're in college doesn't happen that often. You may see like a Kyle Snyder, that happened to him, where he was on a senior world team wrestling still in college. That was one thing that happened to him. Now, the second way, which is a little bit more, second, third, and fourth way, a little bit more common. The second way to qualify is if you were top 8 at the Senior U.S. Open. There's a second way to qualify, which there are a couple guys there. Then, if you were top 3 at the national tournament this past year, you're eligible. Or if you were a previous national champion, and you have a top 2 finish at the U23 World Team Trials. So that's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like you have to have both of them. And then the fourth way is if you're a previous cadet, junior, U23 world medalist. So those are the 4 ways to qualify for the Olympic redshirt year. Now, what do guys do during that Olympic redshirt year? Well, there are a couple first of all, they're training. Okay, so they're training to compete in the Olympics because the Olympics, of course, don't happen until the summer. So, why do they take a whole year off? Well, a lot of times what they're doing is actually going to compete in world events. And the other thing they're doing is actually some guys may be qualifying for the Olympic trials that will be happening in April. There are multiple different ways to qualify for that. Mostly it's if you place or if you win a world one of the world events, world tournaments, then you're able to qualify for the Olympic trials. Now, who are some guys who've qualified? Well, one guy who's already confirmed is Jaden Ironman. Ironman out of Missouri is already confirmed to be an Olympic redshirt for the next year. He will be taking next year off to train. A couple other guys who may take a year off, it's not announced yet whether they will or not. Okay, so first of all, past national team members, Mason Manville and Nick Reenan. Then you have some U.S. Open medalists, Yanni, may or may not take an Olympic redshirt, Dayton Fix, possibly, Ryan Deacon, Gable Stevenson, Zahid Valencia. all potential Olympic redshirts, which, those are some guys that could change the scene of college wrestling next year, and, possibly make titles more interesting because, those are all national title contenders. You also have previous cadet or junior U23 world medalists and Spencer Lee, Dayton Fix, which they can qualify in a couple different categories. They're going to get that Olympic redshirt year. Mark Hall, Jacob Warner out of Iowa, Colin Moore, Micaiah Lewis. A couple of these guys, I don't think every single one of these guys is going to take an Olympic redshirt year. And you've seen guys in the past who've competed that have competed on world levels, but actually wrestled the college season. And that doesn't happen a lot of the times. Kyle Snyder is one of the rare guys who did it, and he's winning world titles and national titles. Unbelievable. It doesn't happen that often, but that is what an Olympic redshirt year is, and I hope that helped you understand exactly what it is a little bit more, especially since we're going into the Olympic year next year.